So I think it is one of the most clever and intelligent shows on TV. Do you agree with that?
If I wasn't in it, I would be getting hooked myself. I would be completely addicted. And I think, you know, I think as a device, the finishing the episode where the next one begins is just a great hook, because, you know, you just think to yourself, I'll just watch the next scene. I'll put the next DVD in and I'll just watch the next 2 minutes because I just want to see what happened after that happened. And then people watch the next hour and then they go, I just want to watch that next. So, you know, I know people who have literally sat through it in 12 hours and I'm not one of them, but I know people who have. So I think there's that, and I think that Alan's writing is so clever and so multi-layered. And you can watch this show and it can be utter popcorn for the eyes. But there's also, if you want to see it, there's incredible intellectual messages in it as well. And so it's kind of, in many ways, it's the perfect model.
It's a very intelligent exploration of relationships and social structure and power and racism. Would you
Absolutely,
agree?
Absolutely. And you know, what he does very well, and I think that comes across even more in the second season, you know, from being part of it and looking out, is that the vampire world is like a feudal society, and incredibly rigid and respectful, and no vampires are rude to other vampires. There's a inbuilt respect. And what that creates is quite an old-fashioned society, a mannered society where you never disrespect your peer. And that's all left to the humans, who are so lesser. You know, they have all the insecurities, they have all the frailties, they have all the addictions, if you like. And I think that's a very clever setup.
What is it that you like about Bill?
Bill is ultimately somebody trying to be decent. He was taken away from his wife and his 2 children when he came back from the American Civil War, and ever since then he has been living with that pain. And he's let it go to some respect, to some, you know, to some place, but it's still part of him. And there's this melancholia that he carries around with him. So when we first meet him, he comes into Louisiana, he comes into Bontemps with this kind of air about him. He meets Sookie. We think that we're scared of him, we don't know what he is, but he's trying to live a decent life. And he's trying to drink this True Blood drink. But it's very important, I think, with Bill, as much as you think he's a decent vampire, he still is a vampire. And, you know, he kills, and he may not feed on innocence, but he feeds on anybody who's bad. And you know, I've coined this phrase for crimes against Sookie. So if anybody does anything against Sookie, they're not going to be around for long.
What's Bill's thing with Sookie? It's very intense, very deep.
Yes,
very much passionate.
Well, he sees something in her. She enlightens something in him that he thought was dead. The ability to love, I think. I don't think he's done that since he was turned. And so for some reason, she has in her some kind of spirit and energy that creates something that he thought was dormant and gone. And we will find out eventually what that is.
We will, but you won't say.
We will, but it's not happened yet. But I'm sure we will find that out at some point. Apart from the fact that she's funny and spunky and beautiful and all of that, you know, there is an animalistic hold, magnetic, that keeps him.
There's something very attractive about Bill's. He has those great qualities, like a Superman in a way.
Yes.
But very cool, non-traditional. Is that what?
Well, you know, he in the True Blood books, in the Sookie Stackhouse books, Bill can levitate, but he can't do that. I'm a bit upset about that. But he can run incredibly fast. He can bring Sookie back to life. He has that power to save her. And he also, when he's fed on her and she's had some of his blood, he is able to sense wherever she is at any time, or feel her emotion, and that's pretty strong.
Would you say with this fictional stories and paranormal, there are no limits?
I think there has to be. You can't just create a world in which anything can happen. I think there has to be guidelines and moral guidelines, and you can bend them, definitely. You can bend time. You can do anything, but it has to be done within a structure that your world accepts. Otherwise, I think otherwise it completely takes. There can be no reality, and I think our show is actually grounded in a reality.
Would you say that well, humans are kind of like animalistic in a way, no? Or they're still dealing with
Well, I think that humans in our show are jealous and hungry for power, success, love, lust, you know, all of the things that in a way the vampire society thinks that they're above.
Why do you think this show is so successful? Not only here, but all over, you know, many different countries.
I think it just has tapped into. I think Alan has created a world which is very fun. It's really funny. This show is far funnier than I thought it was ever going to be. But it's also this kind of barreling snowball of, you know, he keeps adding characters. And anybody who comes in who's got 2 lines that Alan likes, they stay. And they start to get a character, and everybody starts to get a character. And so we've created this, we've got the cast of Ben-Hur, you know? It's massive. So, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and I think it's got a whole energy of its own.
Yeah, like Eric was shorter, and now it's like...
Yes, but I mean, he's in the books.
Yeah.
Eric becomes a very big character in the books. And I think he will be, you know, Bill's nemesis, and vying for Sookie's love, and I think that will create a triangle which will be very interesting.